sports was always a big part of our life growing up. You know, I started playing basketball in the 3rd grade, played softball for as far back as I could remember, stopped playing when I got to be high school aged. But it was just part of who we were. It was part of, you know, my family. We were always really involved in sports and athletics.
Pam and I went to high school together back in the 80s, and so we met when we were sophomores, actually no freshmen, at Stanberry, and then we were just ran in the same circle of friends in some ways, and then we ended up playing field hockey together.
Well, to be honest with you, my brother was a state champion in cross country and track and field. And I thought that it was expected of me. I honestly thought that, well, since he's a good cross country runner, maybe I should try cross country and track, because maybe genetically, you know, I could be a good runner. So I tried it my freshman year, and to be honest with you, I did not like it at all. So I ran for Terry Ortman my freshman year in cross country, and then I had a friend of mine who was in the band, but her sister was going to be a senior my sophomore year, and she played field hockey. She said, why don't you just try field hockey? So I didn't know anything about it and decided to pick it up and give it a try, and just fell in love with it.
She was like a silent assassin, because you would not expect that as her teammate when we first started playing, that she would be like that, because she was not outgoing. She was very quiet, but that is a very outgoing sport. You cannot stay back. You have to attack, and she did that. And I even think I remember her when she would go for that ball, there would be a little grunt, just like a forceful grunt that would just propel that ball even further forward.
When I came back from college, I went to Eastern Kentucky for 4 years and played field hockey, and then I went to OU for 1 year as a graduate assistant field hockey coach. And I came back to Lancaster. I was a substitute teacher for a couple of years, and I was a volunteer on the field hockey team. After I volunteered for a year or two, the position became available. And I was still a substitute teacher, but I interviewed for the position, the head field hockey position, and it was right in this office. Gary Mahler was the athletic director at the time, and he wanted to know what my short-term goals were and my long-term goals. And I told him as short-term goals, I wanted to develop a winning program here at Lancaster High School. I felt that the kids at Lancaster High School could compete on the field hockey field, and that was a goal I had. And in the long term, he said, what are your professional goals long term? And I said, well, I would like to teach here at Lancaster High School and coach, but ultimately, I would like to have your job. And he got a pretty big kick out of that and laughed a little bit, but he encouraged me along the way, and encouraged me to continue to try to pursue that.
But I really remember her my freshman year, over at Stanberry actually, and she was intense. And I remember, a lot of people don't participate in gym as well as you would hope they would, but she made me go hard every day, and we did every sport. It wasn't like, all right guys, we're going to play mat ball today every day. It was, no, we're going to learn every sport, and we're going to learn every detail of every sport.
So we played together, but then we coached together. So she coached the varsity, I coached the JV, and she was determined back then that she was going to have the AD job one day, and I knew she would, because she is a go-getter. And so when I knew that every step of the way she was lining up those ducks to get that job, and did it in such a respectful way, because she earned that position.
I know when I got the job, people were saying that, and that was 8 years ago, and people were saying there weren't a lot of female athletic directors around. But to me, that really never, I don't know, that wasn't important, I guess. I felt like I wanted to be the best athletic director I could be. It doesn't matter if I'm a male or female.
She was actually the main reason I got my bachelor's degree in sports management. So I spoke to her for a while, and then, no, she wasn't AD at this point, but I spoke to her through emails. She just is really a good source of guidance for me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to become an athletic director. And I spoke to her, and I've gone back and forth. I see how much work she puts into it, and it's a whole nother level of dedication. And it's nice to be able to go into her office, female to female, and just talk to her.
My job as athletic director, I believe, is to make the job for my coaches easier so that they can coach their kids. So I try to take care of everything else to kind of clear their plate so that they can have the impact that they should have on those kids.
She's at every event, and she stays after every event. I did my internship with a smaller school in Springfield, and the AD was very involved, but he wasn't setting up and tearing down. I mean, Pam sets up, she tears down. There are sometimes during the fall where you see her come from the soccer game, come watch her volleyball game, then go back to the soccer game, go watch her daughter play field hockey. I mean, she is everywhere.
I think it's important for young girls to see women in leadership positions, whether it be as a coach or as an official or as an administrator. I think that's important.
Well, she's an excellent representation of what it means to be a female leader. Every aspect of her life. And I don't mean to say that to put pressure on her or whatever, but there is no pressure. I mean, she just is who she is. And that's the way she's been since I've known her our freshman year.
She knew my interest in becoming athletic director, and we're both really big on the whole female thing. I mean, she is part of administration here, and it's awesome to see it. She would, for example, I announced regional semi-volleyball games now, and I'm willing to do extra work for her if she needs me. Now, she does know I coach 2 sports, but she does try to get me involved as much as possible because I think the ladies like to see a woman in that role, doing the announcing of games and stuff like that.
She just is an excellent example to little girls, to teenagers, to middle schoolers, to high schoolers of what it means to be of quality leadership.
This is the best job there is in the world. I love coming to work every day. I love what I do. I love watching our kids compete. I just get the biggest thrill out of that, and the excitement that I see of those kids wearing the blue and gold like I did when I was a student here. There's no better job in the world.